Hello everybody and welcome to this short webinar on 10 key risks that can derail your practice and how to avoid them. Today we're going to look at 10 key risks that can give rise to claims or complaints or cause you issues with your clients. They can cause you to lose income or fees. So each of these risks are ones where I can see problems arising in your practice, or in the case of AI, I'm not seeing so many problems at the moment, but I anticipate they are going to give rise to problems. For each issue, we're going to look at typical traps for the unwary, and in all cases, when I'm talking about problems for professionals, give you handy tips to resolve the problems. So I don't just scare people, I help you solve the problems in your practice. So the first risk is in relation to the issue of the engagement letter. So all too often when I'm looking at a problem for a professional firm, I always want to look at the engagement letter, because the engagement letter is the evidence of the terms of the contract between you and your client. So it's always very important to see what the engagement letter says. So sadly, all too often when I want to help a professional firm and there's a dispute with the client and I ask to see the engagement letter, it's not there. Or there's a draft engagement letter, but it's not signed. Or there's various versions of the draft and we can't see the signed one. So, or quite often people start work before the engagement letter is returned and they carry on and they complete the job and they invoice the client, and there isn't actually a signed engagement letter in place. So that's the first problem. We don't have evidence of the agreement with the client in place before we start work or before we complete work. And then we finish the file, we go off to another case, then there's a problem with the client and we can't see what was agreed, what we've said we'd do, what we said we wouldn't do, what the client was going to do. And we can't actually prove it. So that's the first issue. The second issue is a failure to monitor the fees that have been incurred against the estimate or the fees quoted. So that's a real problem for a variety of reasons. So the first issue is that even if it's a fixed fee, it's important that you, in my view, my recommendation is that you record your time even if there's a fixed fee. Why do I say that? Well, first of all, even if all your work in your practice is done by fixed fee, if you don't know how much time it takes to do the work, how can you work out if you're being profitable? So if you, for example, you quote £1,000 to do a piece of work, but it's actually costing you £2,000 to do that work, your business is going to fail. So for nothing else but commercial, it's important to understand how much it costs you to do that work.